Welcome to Center Heights Productions. It is September the 6th, 2024. Please hit the like, subscribe down below in your right-hand corner. Share the video. Please don't forget to leave. Thank you to my followers, but please don't forget to hit the likes and subscribe, trying to grow this community as we bring you um, factual information, highlights, and reviews, and that type of information on games and facts that are going on with the Habs. We don't use clickbait here, nor do we focus on gossip. All right, so if you could do that, that would be wonderful. All right, going to talk about what the title states, and that was the game last night that we had at hand where Montreal was in Ottawa. Well, let's get to the stats fairly quick. It was 4-2, the final outcome for the Sens. Neither team had their biggest stars dressed, although we're always outmatched by them, it seems. First period, 2-1 for the Sens. In the second period, 2 goals for the Sens. Third period, 1 goal for the Habs. 4-2 final. This game wasn't as close as that outcome looks. First start with Shane Pinto. It was Shane Pinto night in Ottawa, no doubt about it. 3 goals. We just let him own the game. And an assist, +2. And then Amadio got a goal and assist. He was a +3. He was second star. And Allmark, who this has been the best move Ottawa has made. This is where I think they may move up in the standings this year. They finally have a goaltender. So 23 saves. He played very well. So right at 120, we'll get into the stats. 25 shots to 19 for the Habs, 24-21 in the hits, 21 faceoffs to 20 for the Habs, 0 for 5 on the power play. This is just ridiculous. 1 for 3 for the Sens, and even shorthanded they could score on us. Ridiculous. Penalty minutes, 13. At least we brought that down. 17 for them. Giveaways, 10 for us, 11 for them. Takeaways, 4 for us, 7 for them. Block shots, 16-10 for the Habs. And right at 1:27, the game opens. We're all worried because this is why they didn't dress their regulars, neither team, because they were concerned that not to go down with injuries with the cheap shots that have been happening. Anyway, right 1:27, McEwen, after a hit, Jack Eye took on one of their players, which was a clean hit, and McEwen right away goes after him at 1:27. And it's like, there's no way Jack Eye can seem to escape this. He's challenged, and he did the right thing. He has to take it up. That's his duty. He knows that, and that's not been the case of my issue with Jack Eye. I love that, what he brings, because he's the only one that brings that. And he kicks, he hands McEwen's his ass to him. He kicked his butt. Looked good on him. So that, at least the fighting's over with. We get to see Jack Eye play some, work on his positioning in this game, get to see him actually play without being thrown out, because I think that's part of Ottawa's plan. We better start focusing, zooming in on this. Teams might start trying this, because it seems like, like I questioned why he got misconducts, especially when there were cheap shots, to the degree that there should have been misconducts handed out and on the opposition, like the Leafs games, where we got the injury of Lane. So there seems to be a focus on Jack Eye where he's just, the league officiating is just automatically tossing him. So we're going to have to watch out for that. They seem to have it out for him. We're going to have to get, that's why we do need to toughen up and add some sandpaper to this lineup. It would not be bad to get somebody like a Delorier on this team to add. I know we're slowly getting the Wolfpack mentality, but it's got to grow a lot more, because too much of it's on Jack Eye. I know he likes that on his shoulders, but he shouldn't. He gets too much on his shoulders. We want to see him improve his defensive capabilities, which is what he needs to work on, so he can solidify his position in the team, because he's too valuable to us. I would hate us to lose what he brings, because it would take us forever to find it again. It took us so long to find it now. So if he can just improve on his position, and we clue in and game plan for this, that teams like Ottawa, who want to play a little underhanded, are going to try to target him. see if they can get him tossed out. So we're down a defenseman. We're going to have to be aware of that. Maybe you do got to dress a seventh defenseman. Just my thought. I think it might be something we want when we're playing Ottawa. Might want to have Ottawa, Toronto. That might be something you think about. So with that being said, this was a game. It was pretty straightforward. We played miserable overall. Wasn't impressed. I mean, I heard a commentator from TSN like praising Monty, saying how he was playing so good, and Monty did not play well. I don't know what drugs you were on or what glue you were sniffing. This gentleman was doing the broadcast with noodles, and I was like, "Are you watching a different game than me?" I mean, I'm not blaming this solely on Monty, but he was undressed last night. He looked weak. We knew Primo had a bad outing the game before and looked horrible. Monty looked like, instead of trying to just, have a good game, he looked like he was challenging to see who could have the worst game. He was. That's what happens when you're flat on your belly and you're outdressed. It was ridiculous. He did not look good. There's no one that can tell me now. It's not to say he didn't have his defense didn't look great either. Overall, a lot of mistakes, and that doesn't just mean defensemen. That means forwards coming back as well to help out in the defense, because we're not pressuring the points enough. We are leaving big gaps there, too much time on those point shots, and that's why those shots are getting through periodically, because we're allotting far too much time, too much space. We got to pressure those points, bottom dollar. I just do not like how we sit back. It's not working. This hasn't worked for us last year. It's not going to work this year. So that's got to change. And then our entire defensemen do this. Everybody on our team. Who's teaching this, or where's this coming from? That forwards are ending up behind your defenseman in front of your goaltender. You don't have them tied up. You don't have their stick tied up. You can't respond to them because you don't know where they're at when they're behind you. So they're let loose. There's something wrong here. This is not just one or two individuals. This is coming from all of our defensemen. This is something that is happening overall. So has to be something we're missing in practice, because I've never heard tell of leaving a forward behind me. I've played defense as well. And I'll tell you now, on my watch, and I mean, that was like the old Habs, you didn't let the forward behind you. You kept him in front of you so you could deal with them. You kept the stick tangled, or you cleared him out of the front of the net. You were working on him. You had him no matter what, so that you could respond when that shot was coming through, that he would not be able to get at any rebound or have any effect on that shot. So this is a big, huge defensive woe for me. And I see Gooley do it. I see everybody on the team. I shouldn't even just, because Matheson does it, Savard does it, um, Barron does it, Struble does it. They all do it. So this is something, all of them, this is something being taught, or something within their system, and it's got to change. Defensemen got to start keeping those forwards in front of them so they can deal with them. And this point gap, there's way too much gap given. And I'm worse, like I say, Savard's not playing, so nobody can block a shot anymore. Now, I can let Gooley off the hook because it was his first game back. He usually does do blocking a shot, so I'm not going to knock him for that. Good on him. Good showing his physicality, sending a message. And what is this? What, you can't hit a guy no more? That a team has to respond and want to fight? Hitting is part of the game. So that nonsense that Ottawa is showing up to do is just a bunch of BS. If you can't take a hit, then you shouldn't be playing hockey. So good to see the pack mentality, though. Everybody came to his aid, to Gooley's aid, when Ottawa wanted to respond that way. That's just a bunch of nonsense. I mean, come on, you should be able to allow hits. That's just part of the game. I mean, if it's a sucker job, it's different, or a small player that you're blindsiding or something, that's different. But there was no blindsiding there. But Gooley did show some rust in other areas defensively, which he admitted. You expect that, only one game. But good to see him back, because he does make a difference. And it was nice when they finally did pair Jack Eye with Gooley. They actually looked all right together, to tell you the truth. This was a better game from Jack Eye where he actually got to play instead of being thrown out. So when I say that I wasn't happy, I love Jack Eye. He's one of my very top favorites. But when I'm saying I'm not upset that he's fighting, because that's what he brings, and teams are forcing him into that. He's responding, but he shouldn't be the only guy, is what I'm saying. And you got to pick your moments. Like, just pick different ways. Nothing wrong with going after Stutzel. Just make it a little cleaner instead of high. I think Stutzel hit. I think St. Louis was correct. That was more Stutzel sticking the face to himself. I don't think Jack Eye did anything wrong there, to be quite frank. But anyway, we got to watch Ottawa because they're going to plan for us to take Jack Eye out. That's evident. So we're gonna have to come up. It wouldn't be bad getting a guy like Delorier on this team because you need more grit. Now we're going to talk about the way we played defense, and there's no doubt Mayu, he gets caught running around a little bit. That's the one thing that causes them trouble. And leg strength, you can see it. He seems to have the same issue, and I found Reinbacher had that as well when he was playing. It was what Slav had when he first came in, just not strong enough legs for big boys. So I think they got to work on the sturdiness of their legs, build some muscle, and add some weight, and they'll be fine. He'll be back up. I think he's got to go to Laval. Enstrom's going to Laval. Enstrom's a little farther behind because he's got to get a year, total year for sure, in Laval just to get used to North American game. That kid's going to be good. He's got things missing right now, but it's only because he's new to the North American game. He'll be good. So he'll be another problem when he's ready that they're going to have to address. So that my point with Jack Eye was Struble unfortunately was out playing him in camp, and Jack Eye wasn't having a great camp because he wasn't working on his positioning. He was getting beat. That's what I was talking about, his positioning. And he's in a competition. He can't get comfy. Yes, I don't want to lose Jack Eye because he is the only one, and we looked a long time for that ingredient, having that guy that brings what he does to police and protect our players. But you can't take it for granted, is what I'm saying. He has to work on his positioning because we have too good a defenseman in the system that could steal that job. And that's why Struble was having the strongest case out of all the defensemen other than Lane Hudson. Struble would have been your next guy who was having a very good camp. I would say Jack Eye, Barron, and everybody else. It was not so impressive. Barron was okay, but he still hasn't shown to me. The only reason I think Barron will stay up is truthfully because he can't go through the waivers because he still hasn't grabbed on and shown me. And that's been my problem. Now we're going to get into it. So that was that. So good game from Jack Eye. What a bomb of a shot. And that's why he should be on the power play. Montreal's power play is atrocious. Shouldn't be this way. 30 chances now in preseason. I don't know if it's looking worse since Burrow's left. It might even be worse. But it's a problem. And the PK, it's gone downhill. It's outrageous. What are these guys trying to do? There's too much gap at the points. Penalty killing, they're not doing a good job. Allowing players in behind them. You got to cover those guys in front of the net and keep them in front of you. So you can tie them up and keep them off the puck. I just don't get what their thinking is. And I don't know who's responsible for their defensive system all the way around. That's including the forwards. I'm not getting it. So, best players of the game, hands down. I thought, so we know Anstrom and Mayu should go down. Mayu will make his way once through the season, I'm sure, and there'll be a difference. He will make it. He's close. He just needs a little bit more. And plus, it's that stupid situation that Barron can't be waived. Can't go through without waivers. So that's the issue that's holding him back. Otherwise, they could do whatever they wanted to. But other than that, forwards last night, there was two players that were the best players all night long, and that was Dvorak and Heineman. And I'm shocked saying that on both guy's behalf. Heineman's looking like what we wanted to see 2 years when we seen him 2 years ago. Last year we lost him. He just seemed to, and he kind of explained it. He's just sticking to instinct and not focusing on too much on things. He's just playing his game, and he's playing much better. So he looks like he could fit in. Kapanen looks great and brings so much that I don't know what you do in this situation, because to me he didn't look great last night. And I do think you can partially blame it for the wingers, for the line he was on. Not much talent on that line. Hard to shine when you're put with that type of caliber. So I don't know if we can truly judge that outing for him. But I didn't like his defensive responses. Like on that breakaway, he was one of the guys trying to come back. You got to put more effort in than that. But he still had moments. He was working hard, but he's got to get grittier on the boards. Um, Barry Burley played well on the boards at moments. He was grinding it out, but I don't think he should be the guy kept up. Um, Heineman's definitely right now the leader with him and Kapanen. Kapanen brings so much offensive talent that think that's where he gets the edge. But and Waugh, I know everybody's on Waugh's case because he hasn't had a great camp. I'm not worried about Waugh. I think he's got the same issue that Kapanen had last night. He's getting placed with guys like Anderson, and who was his other winger? And I believe, was it Dvorak? Anyway, when you're placed with that, there's not you're that's not a great situation either. Because I honestly, personally, I feel that Waugh should be given a shot on line too with Doc. I think honestly, I'd like to see Waugh and Kapanen, because I think Kapanen brings so many swift moves, and Waugh's IQ. I think that would be. I think they should be given a shot on that, because I think then you'll see them shine a bit with better talent together. But for what they're having to play with, I'm amazing even with Heineman being able to play with who he had for line mates. That's actually quite impressive. That he played as well, but he's been crap banging everything, winning board battles, and showing a lot of physicality. That's the difference in his game. He's really stepped it up. So there's no doubt in me whether he stays in Montreal or not. He'll be one of the first call ups. No doubt about it. He's ready. It's just Montreal has some issues with getting people out of the way that might have to come later in the season towards trade deadline. Because this team, I'm changing my grade with the Lane situation and watching their PK suffer and their power play suffer. I was really kicking it up there when Lane was here and we didn't know anything yet. I was kicking up to 86 points. I'm dropping that down to 82. I was also placing them at 8th to 12th from the bottom, a big step up. Now I'm going to say 7th to 8th, a little bit of a drop. And they could fall back into 5th from the bottom. This is from the bottom. I don't see improvement here. We're starting to see some new talent added, but I don't see improvement. Like for me, I'm sorry, I do not. The power play has to produce to get anywhere. You have to get your goals for up. That's not happening. Your PK's got to get the goals against down. It's gotten worse. Don't see that happening. Your goaltending. This the tandem? People can pump Monty's tires all they want, and I'll give him the edge over Primo. But you had a guy right there that I can see why there was supposedly interest in Askarov. But I think the thing is, we got a guy right in our own system that I think should be given the shot, and that was Dovish. When the way he played when Montreal was outplayed in that game that he played, and he stood on his head, he was way better than those two. Give him a chance, let him play, because I think he can steal. He'll steal one of their jobs, if not both. I think he's a better goaltender than both of them put together. That's my opinion. You heard here. I'll take heavy flack. Don't care, because I do not like what I see with uh, Monty. Looked like a seal last night, floppy on his belly. And Primo, what the heck was that the other night? He was out of place, couldn't track the puck, and was down before anything could happen anyway. And he's always down a lot, and he can't stop a puck high. Sorry. Sorry, something's got to give there. If we're trying to be in the mix, we won't with those two guys. That's what I'm saying. Sorry to say that. You can't sit there. You can talk all the trash talk you want and pump up tires saying we're going to be in the mix. No, we won't. Maybe for a minute, but we'll slide behind. Just like we'll be right where we were last year. Now, Doc might get us a couple points ahead. That's why I put us at 82. And I had to drop it from 86 because this team's not good enough for 86. I don't see that there's not improvements. If anything, we could be in bigger trouble. As I've seen, to me, that power play has gotten worse. Penalty kill has gotten worse. And I don't know what type of system they're trying to teach these youngsters. And I'm waiting for that step uh, forward experience wise from the youngsters that were already up, like Gooley, Jackeye, Barron. Who else is there? I can't say Struble because last year was his first year. But out of those guys, there should be a positive move forward. And I'm not seeing it yet. And like I say, Matheson, and David Savard they're going to be what they are. They're veterans. So no step forwards. There's trouble in paradise. And like I say, our forwards, like I say, Josh Anderson comes out looking good. But what happens as the game goes? He's back to Josh Anderson. No consistency. Nowhere's to be found. Sorry. They got to start taking that gap away on the point too with the forwards, and then they're not. They got to check that tighter. Um, so that didn't look good. Galley puts the effort in, but you can definitely tell where has slowed him down with what he's gone through for this team. But I give him credit for effort. Um, but like I say, Doc or not Doc, sorry, Dvorak, Heineman, best two players on the team last night on the forward group, followed by Jake Evans. Other than that, where was Newhook? Somebody want to tell me? And this is why it infuriates me over that trade. Same as the Barron trade. I don't know. Maybe it's we got to stay clear of Colorado because we got taken. Now, this administration, I've given them tons of credit for the drafting, but the trades, they're not so upper hand for us. Number one, we gave up Lecky, and Barron was a first rounder. Well, he's not coming to life, and I don't care what the extra part was. That doesn't wash for me as being enough. You're looking at the guys, and he is not. We lost on that trade. I'd like to find out who was the other part of that trade, though, in draft picks. Something to check in, but either way, 1-for-1, we lost, and I didn't like that trade. And he's from Nova Scotia, I believe, from Halifax. And sorry, doesn't matter. Like I see a lot of Newfoundlanders in New Hook's corner because he's Newfoundlander. Sorry, that doesn't wash. We got a guy here from Halifax, Barron, and it doesn't wash. I'm harder on him, and he is the bottom of my list. He's too soft. Um, Hoping to see something different, but he's been a little calmer. Improved a little bit, but he trips over his own feet still, continually causes issues, coughing up the puck. But he's not the only one, that's for certain. So, but that's why he's been, and that's if I was using prejudice, or favoritism, because he's Haligonian, I'd be pumping his tires. I won't do that. And Newhook, I'm sorry, there's on the second trade. This guy was not worth a first round pick. We gave up a first round and a second pick. I would have rather had that first round pick coming into the team. He's not good enough to have made the placement when we probably could have got something better. And I'm going to say that I don't care that some people are on his because he's from Newfoundland. That doesn't wash with me. Where was he last night? And what I see is consistently. Now I give him a credit. A lot of times he'll give you some effort. Last night I didn't see it. He was just nowhere to be found. But he is no better than a third liner, and that is at tops. There's no way this guy's cut out for second line. No way. No way. No way. And that's why I say Juan Kapanen should be given a shot. Yes, he's got speed, and that's his biggest strength. Um, he has okay IQ, but he's not a second liner. No way. No way. Not even chance. And to me, you can't give up a first and a second round pick for a guy like that. That we lost on that. I think we could have had a guy working at being um, in this pile of prospects that could have been an upper echelon talent. I don't see this trade. Now he's going to be a good third liner for us. Yeah, once Dvorak or whatever they do for, some of the vets that like the Andersons, the Dvoraks, when they're moved and Gallagher's. Okay, he'll find his spot, whether it's center or wing. I think you got better centermen than him actually. So that can fill those roles out. Like I think Kapanen's a better center than he is. So hands down, it's not even close. So in that regard, I even think Beck's a better center than he is. So he can be a third liner on a wing. You might want to use him as a third. You can use him for the center if you can move Dvorak in the time being, but he's technically, there's guys that can do it better. So with that being said, those are two trades we lost on, and let's be honest about it. Instead of favoritism because they come from our parts of the world, that's a bunch of garbage. Then when you go from that, so I don't see the improvement, and I need to see a drastic change. I know it's only preseason, that's the plus, but boy, if this is any signs of what's to come, that's why I had to drop what I thought, because I think in the end, instead of being 8th to 12th to the bottom, I think we're going to be at best 8th to 7th from the bottom, and with the possibility of falling right back to 5th to the bottom. I don't see enough improvement. There's some positive things coming, but really, those youngsters that have been there, like especially on the decor, they haven't taken that step forward yet. None of them. That step has to be taken, and the system has to change for us to become more responsible. We have not become more responsible. So I see us running into this season with the exact same problems. The only difference, we might have a few more goals. Might, and that's a might, with Kirby Doc being in the lineup. And, if they can put the right guys with them, like Waugh and Kapanen. And again, then you got to look at Heineman. This guy looks like he's ready. So I don't know what you do there. Um, you're in a whammy unless you start moving people out. Either way, you're not showing any great strides forward. Lonnie would be your biggest positive, and we don't got to wait 3 months for him. That was the only really huge thing we had going for us going into this season. And maybe line one steps forward, but can't just be line one all the time. So with that being said, that's how I see it. Petr It's going to be one heck of a game one against the Leafs. I'm not going to be surprised if we see a Reeves Jack Eye match. And that always makes me nervous because, you never know what Reeves is going to do. But we'll see what happens. I just don't think it's going to be a close game whatsoever. Our first 3 games, I see 3 losses. Bottom dollar. Remember, heard it here first on Center Heights Productions. But I am looking for them. This should be entertaining. Let's hope we can keep it entertaining. It always seems to be entertaining with those 3 teams we're playing at the beginning. So Wednesday, Toronto, this should be an interesting game. Okay, so thank you for joining me. Leave your comments, but keep them civil. We don't accept nonsense in our chat. So keep it civil. Thank you for joining me. You've seen it here at Center Heist Productions. Tell your friends and family about it. Share the video, and thank you. We'll catch you when the Leafs come on Wednesday when we play the Leafs. God bless.